Hey, good morning, everybody from the East Coast of Florida in Clearwater. This is my very first live with Holistic True Wealth. And I usually go to a syndicated series, but today I'm doing a live series. And I'm here with Dr. Tahir Hussain, who is here from Malaysia. And for those that don't know, I'm Dr. Jeffrey E. Berger, and I am a global ambassador with 𝑉𝒂𝒐, which is a tech company that is expanding here in the United States. And I am very, very excited to be sitting next to Dr. Tahir Hussain, who is here. He's my wealth coach, my life coach, and he's been a true asset in regards to teaching me about real estate, because that's where he became a millionaire in his 20s. So I'm going to start out with Dr. Tahir. Tell a little bit about who you are and what you have done over the years to get where you are today as a very, very successful serial entrepreneur.
Well, thank you very much, Jeffrey. That was amazing. A very good morning to all of you. It's such a delight to be sitting next to you doing this for the first time ever, especially in the United States. So thank you for having me on this. Appreciate it. So who am I in terms of being a founder of the Unstoppable Millionaire Academy? I'm someone who grew up in Dubai, who always had a mind who would think inquisitively, think outside the box, because I come from a city called Dubai where everything was outside the box. Can we build something which is the biggest, the tallest, the largest, the number one, and we got the world's tallest tower skiing in the desert, in a mall, and the list goes on and on. So it challenges you to do something big and moving forward. So I'm a software engineer, otherwise qualified. Lived and studied in the United States during that time, went back to Dubai, started my real estate business, became a developer, became a millionaire, got awarded by the ruler's office of Dubai, made it to the top 500 most influential people in Malaysia with British Encyclopedia as well. So that's what I am and who I am, and I'm driven by change in terms of empowering the masses, and that's what the quest is all about.
Absolutely. And we're going to talk about his unstoppable millionaire a little bit later in the show here. But, you know, we are in a paradigm shift, and I've been talking about this for a couple of years. And when I sit down with people, we talk about the days before computers and what did we do before computers? And then computers were introduced to the world, and that was a big scary thing. And today, as we know, computers run pretty much everything that we are doing from a global perspective. So, but especially right now, we are in a paradigm shift in the way things are being done and changed. And I really associate people with putting them into a story, again, thinking about before computers and then decades ago when Microsoft, let me put it this way. Before computers and then the internet, all right? And then decades ago when Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon introduced their technologies in the space of the internet, and where we are today. So decades ago, and look at them today, they're industry giants: Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, Amazon, just to list a few. And this is where we are today in regards to the world of the technology space, if you will, and the internet, because the internet is evolving. And we're going to talk a little bit about that as well today. But we are evolving in time here. We're not in the Stone Ages. We're not in, the 1800s. We're in the 21st century, where things are really moving forward. And it's about embracing those changes, becoming aware of them, as well as potentially getting in on the ground floor with some great opportunities like those who did with Microsoft, Apple, Netflix, and Amazon decades ago. That's exactly where we are today. So we're going to take a quick, very short commercial break, and we'll be right back with some more great information here. Okay, we are back, and that was a little introduction to 𝑉𝒂𝒐𝒏, who is really the first company to tokenize real estate on the blockchain technology. We're going to talk a little bit about that. Dr. Tahir has, as I mentioned earlier, great expertise and extensive knowledge in the real estate industry, being a tycoon in his early 20s, and maybe in the late teens, he started to get involved with that. He can share a little bit more. But the idea is that we're taking, different paradigms and moving them into the future. And so, Dr. Tahir, talk a little bit about who 𝑉𝒂𝒐𝒏 is, about the tokenization. What is tokenization? And I still have people asking me about blockchain. What is blockchain? So if you could break those down a little bit for the audience, that would be awesome.
Well, thank you very much. And great questions, scary questions for the masses, because when they think of tokens, they think of technical stuff. They think they probably need to do a PhD in it to get their hands on some tokens. But that's not true. A token is, in fact, let's talk about blockchain first, because blockchain is a much bigger platform industry, if you would, and token being a part of blockchain. So a blockchain is basically an open account ledger and a bank statement, for example, where you can see a transaction from point A to point B. You don't know who the people are who are transacting, but the transaction can be seen. Now, whether you are transacting a Bitcoin on it, an Ethereum on it, an NFT on it, buying or selling properties on it, we'll talk more about it today. All of that could be seen between point A to point B, and it's an open ledger for anyone and everyone to see. That's called blockchain in the laymanest term possible, right? It's open. The beauty about that is you can't hide things, you can't fake things. There's nothing called as fake blockchain because of that, because it's point A to point B. That's good. Transparency is there. You're in control 100%. That's all good stuff. So that's blockchain, to make it simple. Now, the tokenizations are through NFTs, tokens using Ethereum blockchain. A token, basically, think of having a bank account. And let's say that bank account has US dollars in it. But what if I could put real estate in it, in that bank account? Now I'm questioning the norm. What if I could put oil and gas or diamonds in it, in that bank account? Weird. But that's what tokens do. It's a wallet address, like a bank account number or alphabets, but it could store multiple things in it, transparent, open, that could be seen, transactional from point A to point B, just to break it down in the simplest of forms.
And that's great. And you talk about the norm. We have to, not have to. I'm encouraging people to get out of the norm and look beyond the norm, because those norms from the past have changed and where we are today. So again, we're evolving, and it's all about education. So I mentioned earlier that I am a global ambassador, and what does that really mean? And I'm very, very excited about sharing information with people to get them educated. I go back to, and I'm an ex-software engineer of 27 years. And I wanted out of the industry, but here I am 10 years later, back in the industry because of the excitement and what it really has to offer people, that most people are not really grasping the idea. And back in 2009, I share this story. I was working as a software engineer, and I was approached with the opportunity of purchasing 500 Bitcoin at 0.0017 cents, which is an 85-cent investment. And my response back then was, nah, sounds like a scam. We know most people know where Bitcoin has gone to today. It's over $100,000 per coin. I'd probably be on a beach eating bonbons right now instead of being here with Dr. Tahir. But point taken is education. And in 2017, that's when I started to really start to embrace this technology, even though I wanted to walk away from it. But I'm forever grateful that I was able to, again, step into my uncomfortable zone, because that's where growth happens and innovation thrives, in your uncomfortable zone. So I encourage people to step into that because most of us have grown up in our comfort zone. We're put in a little box to be a puppet for corporate America. And I'm not knocking jobs because a lot of people love their jobs. I loved my job, but it wasn't getting me what I wanted and where I wanted to really, really go because you're conditioned to their rules and regulations. So I wanted out of that. And this is an opportunity to really dive into different areas that are happening today. There's so much out there that is available to people. And it's all about getting into, stepping into that uncomfortable zone. So, Dr. Tahir, we're getting ready to launch a flagship project, which I'm really, really excited about. And I'm going to do this over here, and we can do that. This over here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a short commercial break just to kind of break the ice and introduce this. And we'll be right back.
Still waiting for that perfect golden chance? Wake up! Years have already been wasted chasing comfort zones and daily dollars. AI's not waiting for anyone. It's sprinting ahead of us, faster, smarter, and sharper. In 10 years, it'll eat our jobs, our businesses, and definitely our excuses. Transformation, disruption, domination. Education re-engineered. Property tokenized, communities reinvented. This is the decade of survival, and the one real tech is building the blueprint. Want growth? Get in. This is the decade where the average doer vanishes, but the bold ones, they build empires. No dependency, no pity party, no constraints, just freedom to create, to own, to flex, and to live louder than ever. This isn't some sci-fi film. This is now, the new reality, human with machine, vision with ownership. If we are not part of it, we are history. The next 10 years belong to the crazy ones, the doers. Stay in comfort and stay stuck, or get up and own the future. The choice is ours.
Okay, that gave you a little introduction to what we've got going on here. And this is really, as the video says, it's for the crazy ones. We're the crazy ones, but we're doing something about it. We're getting involved. So I'm very excited about the future of this project that we're launching. It is, I call it an eclectic ecosystem because we have so much to offer in different areas for all kinds of people. So Dr. Tahir, share a little bit about DMeta One and where it actually started and the history of it to where we are today, and some of the projections with this particular platform in our metaverse up to 2029, but then also talk about it from a global perspective with regards to AI, metaverse, and virtual reality.
Got it. So let's start with the metaverse as an industry. A lot of us are on socials. You might be watching this on socials. A lot of us are on YouTubes. You might be watching this on YouTube. And all socials and YouTubes are on the metaverse. And that might come as a shock to you. It did to me when I was able to understand what the metaverse was doing. And when I realized that I could go on YouTube and watch 360 videos and suspending myself in total immersion on YouTube in the metaverse, just to get your mind around a technology or a site that you basically use on 2D screens right now or on your smartphones. The metaverse is disruptive in the sense that how we perceive and see the world has changed. It's changing, and it will change at a lightning pace. Why is it changing at a lightning pace? Dr. Jeffrey spoke about the crazy ones that our video speaks about, because the crazy ones disrupt. They don't just go and make some money, they disrupt. They disrupt the current way of living. Smartphones were a disruption. Steve Jobs, Apple's. That's what you think of, right? Televisions back in the days, internet, Y2K, all of that stuff. So the crazy ones disrupt, metaverse is disrupting. I give you some names that you're already on. They're in the metaverse. Said that, what is the one doing in the metaverse? That's important. Disruption again, in primarily to start with, already up and running, not hopefully something coming one day. Education. a multi-trillion-dollar industry in real estate, a multi-trillion-dollar industry, disrupting. So imagine if you could walk into a chemistry lab, pick 2 molecules of hydrogen using your hands and 1 of oxygen and create water. You could be wrong and can repeat that experiment. Now imagine you could do that in a chemistry lab for all known experiments to humankind that chemistry knows of, right in that lab. Now this could happen from the comfort of a classroom. This could happen from the comfort of your bedroom. Depends how much you love chemistry. I've had people who hated chemistry. After doing a couple of demos, they're like, I wish I had this when I was a student because this is so much fun. Just one example of what the metaverse or the one is doing with the metaverse. And then, of course, we have much more than just these 2 continents into it. But just to give you an idea, to try and visualize what the metaverse is and where we are going with it.
No, that's great. And you mentioned the word continent. Just for our viewers, we're developing 5 different continents within the metaverse. And the first one is our educational component. The second one is our real estate continent. The third one is more of a social media content creator, developer continent. And then we have a continent that's all about gaming. And then our final one is going to be about entertainment. Think about, wearing these glasses here, these goggles, and attending a concert in Rome, or attending a Broadway show, or attending a concert of one of your favorite artists. And we're actually going from this technology here, which is what's happening now, but now we're going to go to that technology. And you want to put on those glasses, Dr. Tahir? So we're going into the eyeglass technology. And he's connected to the metaverse with those Ray-Ban technology glasses. So this is where we're shifting to. Lots of different things are happening, and we're excited to share this information. And again, we're still at the ground floor opportunities in so many ways. And it took decades for Microsoft and Apple, Netflix, Amazon to get where they were to where they are today. And that kind of is bringing us into the next point I want to bring across is that one of the reasons for me personally going through my journey, because I went through a health journey and then I went through a financial journey, talking to people as a baby boomer who has been impacted from from 9/11 to 2008, 2020, 2021, lots of great losses in their portfolio, so forth and so on. So they're really looking for, other opportunities there. But one of the things that stuck out for me in the top 3 was for the betterment of humanity. And that really stuck very deep in my heart, because so many people are struggling and they don't know where to go, and they want to be able to level up in their lives from a personal, from a professional, or a combination of both, from many aspects. And my business is abundance and optimum wellness. And I truly believe that we all should be living a life of abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And those are the key elements, if you will, to I call the perfect formula, because once you have the tools and the resources that will, and that's what I'm about, is sharing the tools, sharing the resources, allowing people to create a lifestyle to live an abundance and optimum wellness, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. And that really ties into for the betterment of humanity, because this is part of a financial journey for myself, having been impacted from, multiple, destructions in my financial and my 401k. But with that being said, stepping out into your uncomfortable zone, as I was talking about earlier, is getting aligned with individuals who will take you to that next level. And Dr. Tahir was one of them. I follow Tony Robbins, Patrick Bet-David, just to list a few, who I embrace and still learning from them, having attended 2 months ago the Vault conference of Patrick Bet-David. But getting to this betterment of humanity, Dr. Tahir's background is real estate. He became a multimillionaire at 27 in the real estate space. And since then, he's developed the Unstoppable Millionaire Academy. And this academy talks, it has a plethora of different opportunities and different ideas within that. And he also has a book, and I'm going to plug it here. Let's see, where can I put this? There. Unstoppable Millionaire. It is on Amazon, and I have 4 copies of this book, but it really gave me a different perspective about mindset, money, because I didn't have that kind of mindset being a robot for corporate America. And it really opened my mind to learning other things. And it's like, oh my gosh, there's a lot of things out there. So Dr. Tahir, can you, envelop your real estate background and how you evolved into being a wealth coach, a life coach, and how that ties into for the betterment of humanity, because there are many people out there that are probably watching right now who are looking for something like this that you have to offer and that you've helped so many people.
Sure. So let's start with real estate. I'm passionate about real estate. Once I understood that human beings are not going away, we need a place to stay. We are doing this from a real estate. You're watching it from a real estate. So either we are owning that real estate or we are leasing that real estate to someone else who owns it, right? There are 8 billion people on the planet. Properties are not going away. Real estate isn't going away. So I'm passionate about it. The challenge with real estate, and America feels it to a certain extent, is that how do the masses get on board when a simple home could cost you anywhere between $300,000 to $500,000? Something small, and even if that's a cheaper option, how do you afford it? Where do they come from? For the masses, again, I'm not talking about the rich, right? For the masses. So the disruption in the real estate happened when in 2020, when I had the founder approach me saying that we are looking at fractionalizing how properties work. I'm like, what do you mean? How can the masses come in prime properties across the globe with a couple of $1,000s? I'm like, what? How? And there were so many questions about it, but it was an idea. Between 2020 for me, and as time went by, 2021, 2022, 2023, it got clearer and clearer. The technology got better and better. The legislations became bigger and brighter. Right. So good. So that I think 2 months ago, me coming out of Dubai and Dubai being very tech-oriented. I'll give an example of tech orientation in Dubai. If you have a cop car passing by in Dubai, it is completely equipped with thermals, cameras, AI. So anything that's off, if you have double parked, you've got 5 minutes to move your car, the AI will find you or put a penalty on you automatically. There isn't a cop who comes in and says and looks. No, none of that. And as the car is driving, it's completely equipped. Same with speeding cameras. They're all over, and they would not just catch you speeding. They'd catch you on seatbelt. They'd catch you if you're drinking even a cup of coffee while driving, because that's not allowed, and the list goes on and on. So artificial intelligence is playing a massive role in terms of execution. Now, that's Dubai for you as an example, right? So you get a better picture. That's pretty wow, isn't it? Said that, the government said, look, we are now creating virtual assets regulatory authority, a whole government division, because we believe that over the next 6 to 7 years, $18 billion of freehold properties in Dubai alone would be sold through tokenization. You know how that makes me feel? Pretty amazing. So that's one example of how legislations are coming up, and Dubai just is pioneering that, which means that it's going to open affordable ownership through fractionalization. And here's the other aspect for the masses, right? Here's the other aspect of it. A couple of $1,000s. So Dubai started this at $2,800 one fraction of whatever that is of that prime property, right? And that particular asset class, and this is completely a different property in Dubai, was sold in under 4 minutes. Try and comprehend that. In under 4 minutes, starting price approximately $2,800 gone. Because when the masses come in, a couple of $1,000 of a fraction of a prime property, you're done.
Right.
Now, imagine the masses that don't own an asset. Think of your own friends who don't own an asset yet because A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Now imagine a couple of $1,000. In prime properties across the world, that's powerful. Now, the only reason I believe that's happening is because of blockchain that we were speaking about, because the technology now is what? Transparent. We have removed the middle people. It's from the manufacturer or the developer, in this case, to you as the buyer. There are no middle agents. So it gets affordable and cheaper. And then all the benefits are passed on to you directly. Started with blockchain, so it's transparent. There's no fake, no hiding, no scam. No middle people. And this happens in a fraction of a second. Now, for those of you who have bought properties, do understand you don't buy properties in fractions of a second, but you can through NFTs and tokenization in blockchain. It's like clicking a button of a mouse. As simple as that. Mind blowing.
Yeah, and you go back to centuries ago when homes were sold with notes, one page signed. This is, you own it. It's yours.
Yeah.
No banks, no lawyers, no fees, and all that kind of stuff that's associated with purchasing homes and insurance, so forth and so on. Great nuggets there, Dr. Tahir, and share a little bit about the Unstoppable Millionaire Academy and how you approach really helping people understand the aspects around finances and how they can start adapting that into the world today, because we're, a majority of people, I'm going to say most people that I talk to, invest in your 401k, let it sit, and then just, retire and you can live off of that. Well, that's not working anymore. So, and I learned that the hard way with my financial planner in 2017. I needed to be the CEO of my own life. And that comes from a health perspective and a financial perspective and in every aspect of my own life. Yes, we have so-called professionals out there, which some are great, some are medium, some are not so good. And we unfortunately need to be able to really have a good foundation. It's not that you have to know every in and out of it, because I don't want to learn the tax laws. I saw the book the other day. They were, showing it on a commercial, and it's like this big. I don't want to be going through those thousands of pages, but talk a little bit about the basics of financial and moving forward.
The golden rule of creating wealth or becoming financially independent is when your money is working hard for you and it pays your expenses. I don't care if you're driving a Ferrari or a Ford, it doesn't matter. As an example, that's the golden rule of wealth, that if I don't go for a 9-to-5 job, and if I don't go looking for an earned income, I've got money working hard for me and it takes care of my lifestyle. It pays my bills. That's the golden rule. Now, creating wealth, and I use these words in specific because it is not hitting a jackpot.
Right.
The word creation is, think of creating your own house brick by brick as an example. You're creating it. Wealth is created. So some of you are thinking, oh my God, I don't think I could live or survive if I don't earn a paycheck for the next 2 weeks. Guess what? I think over 90% Americans fall into that category. If I'm not wrong, you can check that number. That number is really very high, as sad as that sounds. But then you have to take the first step to start somewhere. And it's one step at a time. What have you done, let's say in the last 90 days, when it comes to making your money work hard for you? See, I thought in my 20s that I have to work exceptionally hard, and I went into business working exceptionally hard. So I became a millionaire on earned income without realizing that there's a better way to do it. And I started realizing that more as I went into my 30s. I have known any better, I would have started completely differently by making my money work hard for me. Now, how do you do that? How do you make your money work hard for you? By attending seminars, by being in Zoom rooms, especially with Zoom and technology, and taking some notes, being focused. I do with traveling a lot, being in boards, meeting the directors, the CEOs and the founders, conferences, VIP attendances, because I want my money to work hard for me. I want my money to work harder for me than I work for my money from an earned income point of view. You get the point. So if I made, let's say, $500,000 in earned income, I want my money working hard for me, doing more than $500,000 in passive income. That's the golden rule. And for that, whatever flights and everything else I need to take, be in rooms, I do that. Unfortunately, a lot of us don't do that. One, we can't, but what we can, we don't even do that stuff. Dr. Jeffrey does a fantastic job when it comes to educating you, getting your questions answered, putting you on the right track, not because he's going to make some money, because how it's going to impact and change your lifestyle. Listen, when you add value to someone, especially if it's going to be disruptive, the money anyways will flow in. We don't live in a scarcity world of money. US, you are over a $30 trillion economy. $30 trillion moves just within United States. You're not short on any money. I can promise you that. Work on adding the value. And when that happens, and Dr. Jeffrey, I can't emphasize enough why you have to, when he give you the links to connect with him, get to know more, because that's the first step. Listen, if you didn't know, or if you heard of NFTs, deep dive. Don't make a decision, but get educated, and then get on to that journey of understanding. Because what happens when you're knowledgeable, your confidence level goes up. When your confidence level goes up, what happens to fear? It diminishes. It goes down. Then you become bolder. Now imagine if I told you that there are people who have been earning passive income through tokenization of real estate. You'd be like, what? Yes, people who have never been to the countries where they own properties through tokens. Unbelievable. And it's happening as we speak, and it's going to get into the masses. You could be one of the pioneers actually to take advantage of that. So that's one rule of wealth. Get started, take that first step, because it matters to you and the people you love and care.
Awesome. Those are great nuggets. And you talked about getting out and attending events. And I mentioned earlier that in September, I attended the Patrick Bet-David Vault Conference. I recall I've attended several Tony Robbins, but I went to his Business Mastery in 2016, right after I left corporate America. And I will be transparent. It was very, very difficult because it's a different mindset. Coming from sitting behind a desk for 27 years, working for corporate America, you have to have a different way of thinking. But one of the things that I've remembered from, out of many of them, but one was, who are your circle of influences? All right. And you look at their lifestyle. Not that you necessarily want their particular lifestyle, but you want a better lifestyle, and you have to determine what that is. But you look at those individuals. Are they driving the same car for 20 years? Are they living in the same house? Are they only taking one vacation? Those are the things that you need to look at, because that's where their mindset is, being more conservative. And it's about branching, away from that. And again, taking risk. Everything is about risk and embracing that. But being very, very conservative with regards to what you are investing in from that. So, and no matter where you are, whether you're in the New York Stock Exchange, whether you are on the exchanges for cryptocurrency and Bitcoin, there is risk with that as well. But you do your due diligence, which is, I learned the hard way. I lost $125,000 in my very first cryptocurrency, dive in, if you will, jump in. And why? Because I was too green. I didn't understand enough. But that got me out of that and start really exploring and learning more about this industry. So thank you for that real estate, and then the Unstoppable Millionaire. Again, the Unstoppable Millionaire is you can get this on Amazon.com. So let's go into a little bit about the the Art of One just announced the Metaverse Real Estate Expo, and there's no platform out there like this today. And share a little bit about the vision of where we are today, because we've just introduced it. It's being released in 2026. And that's just the beginning of where this is going to go. And I know that you've been involved with different types of traditional expos, but this is a very unique way of doing real estate in the virtual reality space.
Absolutely. So my past experience in Dubai as a developer would be a couple of $1 million to set up your booth and the mock-ups and everything else for a typical property expo, expecting that people would show up, and people do show up for those. So that's your conventional model. If you've been to any expo, even if you haven't been to an expo or a convention, you know what that is like. It's 9 to 5 with lunch breaks in a particular environment, in a particular place. You go in, if it's 2-3 days, you spend some time, you get tired. Hopefully you've seen every single booth or a stand and the exhibition hall, right? So that's your conventional model. Now what We Are the One Real Estate Expo is doing is, again, they're disrupting. Before that, the first disruption is they're taking the physical, which is a physical property, and turning it into a digital property. We've done a lot of digital stuff, isn't it? But we haven't taken physical and turned it into digital. What does that mean? It means that if you wore these goggles, you could actually be walking in a studio apartment, a penthouse, a 1-bedroom across the world. From the comfort of your living room, from the comfort of your bedroom, whether you're sitting or walking. Now, I know I sound like a sci-fi movie. Like, what are you talking about? How is that possible? Through those goggles. That's how it's possible. That's Metaverse for you, right? Said that. The company says that's not enough. What we want to do is next get into the Real Estate Expo. What's the Real Estate Expo in the Metaverse, the world's first? It allows developers, real estate owners from around the world to digitalize an actually existing property in the Metaverse. So you, from the comfort of your home, have these goggles on. You could say, oh, I've never seen Dubai. You click on Dubai, it teleports you into Dubai. You've got the options and you are there. Except that it's not 9 to 5. It's 24/7. Except it's not for 3 days. It's 365 days. Yeah. That's disruption. You understand how big of an industry real estate is, and the company is looking at doing that. We're becoming the first in the world to be on the Real Estate Expo. Now, why and how does this matter to you? Remember, we spoke about wealth and creating wealth. That's where you could realize over time, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. Jeffrey's going to bring that up. There's something in it for you. And then that's why it's important to understand one, the technology itself and the aha factor of it, and second, how you could take advantage of it, financially speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very, very exciting. And what I'll be doing is I'll be sharing a couple of video clips in the comment sections on the different platforms, so you can actually take a little ride yourself through what we have pulled together up until today and what we're looking at into the future. And so with that, what I'm going to do is we are going to take another short commercial break, and we'll be right back.
What if property wasn't just bricks and walls, but pixels and blockchain too? 𝐷1 Realtech takes real estate digital and puts ownership right in your hands. Fractional ownership, real assets, blockchain trust. The future of property is here. And where does it all start? It starts with 𝐷1 Realtech, where you will learn how blockchain and real estate come together. One ecosystem, endless opportunities. Are you ready to step inside? From Harare to Abu Dhabi and across the world, the One Realtech is connecting ideas, assets, and innovation, turning vision into value, dreams into ownership. The One Realtech. Own it, live it, trade it.
So this was just a little follow-up to what Dr. Tahir was talking about with regards to real estate, real-world assets. Real-world assets is a huge term that is being, I would say it's been being used about 2 years now, because originally cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, had nothing tangible behind it, so you couldn't really touch it. But with real-world assets such as real estate, I went to Dubai in 2013 and I touched our Paramount Hotel, the Paramount Tower. It's a hotel and apartment tower, but I touched it. That's physical. I could touch it. And those that own NFTs in that, which is a fractional ownership of that apartment, are getting dividends from that. Same with, now I haven't touched our Zanzibar hotel and resorts in Zanzibar, but I've seen pictures, they've started to break ground. So that is real world assets from a real estate perspective. But we talk about the Metaverse here in DA1, and this is where you are owning, you're basically an investor or a part ownership within invested into the software, just like those who invested into Microsoft and Apple, Netflix and Amazon. They have software that's running their empires, and that's what we have here. And you can learn more about that, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But we are, what's really great about this is that when I came on board in 2022, it was all about blockchain and decentralization, and it was really, really great. But since then, the company has been working with the SEC, working with industry experts, and really evolving. They've really catapulted just in the last couple of years, and they just recently announced their path to an IPO, which is initial purchase offering, or public offering, I should say, public offering, and which means that they're going to go on the New York Stock Exchange. So, Dr. Tahir, can you talk about the benefits of both worlds, decentralized, centralized, and what kind of doors does this really open for people still being able to get in on the ground floor with some of the products that we have to offer, products and services? Because again, I say we are the Apple on the blockchain technology, but we're kind of crossing over that railroad tracks to come into centralized, offering our products and services just like Apple with their iPhone, the iPad, the Apple, computer, the Mac Pro. Those are all types of products and services that drive up the Apple stock, which for them, that's their mother stock. For us, with the Meta One, with the DM1 token, with the DMU token, these are different products. NFTs, which is the real estate. And that is going to drive the value up for our VREIT, which is what I call the mother stock of VR1. Share a little vision for our viewers today about how that can really impact us 3 to 5 to 10 years down the road.
So let's talk about from a money perspective. If you think of Amazon, Google, Netflix, Facebook, think of they going public in some form. Think of you knowing about it before they're going public. What would your wealth sheet look like? Now, the sad reality is that majority of us were never invited, isn't it? Mm-hmm. None of them came and said, "Hey, Dr. Jeffrey, would you want to buy some shares? You're going to do this, right?" And yet today, they're trading in billions and billions of dollars. Eventually, they will be trading in trillions of dollars as we move forward. So now this is some examples. Now imagine where we are the one is, and we have shared just a few of those nuggets with you today. What would that mean for you passively if you could be a part of such a community that's disrupting. Again, we're not doing something that someone else is already doing. It still wouldn't be a bad thing, but we are disrupting it. And we're disrupting it in a way where the industry itself is growing. We showed you two different hardwares. We showed you the Ray-Ban Meta, and we showed you the Meta Quest. Facebook or Meta are the manufacturers of that. Ray-Ban are manufacturers of that. Now Oakley is coming out with this. Apple has its own goggles, and this is going to go mainstream. As you said, that becomes this over time,
Right.
and then it becomes a lens over time, whether you understand or not, whether you want to. But guess what happens? This turns into a multi-billion-dollar industry. But someone is going to make that money. When we say an industry is worth billions of dollars, we just spoke about education and real estate being worth trillions of dollars. It means that someone on planet Earth is earning passively through those billions and trillions of dollars. How much of that is your share? How much of that would you want to be your share? I think that's a key takeaway question for you from the disruption of the technology. Parts of what we are saying might be too futuristic for you, but it's happening. So deep dive in with Dr. Jeffrey on his sessions. But why are you deep diving into it? Because there's a financial stake. Because if you get your cards right, who knows, you might land up creating generational wealth. I'm not just talking about becoming a millionaire, which is fantastic. I already created over 100 of those in 1 year in the real estate industry in Dubai. Now imagine what we could do with something that's disruptive. Real estate in 2007, 2008 was not disruptive. Real estate has been there for thousands of years. Imagine
Right.
if what I would do in terms of creating new self-made millionaires with the meta, with taking the physical property and digitalizing it. That number wouldn't be 100 millionaires. So that gives you some food for thought what this could potentially mean for you.
That's awesome. So lots of possibilities out there, and that's where I was back in 2022, and I needed to make a pivotal change, having some more financial disruption, and needing to make a change and a shift in where I was taking myself and my family to a different reality point there. So, and I'm forever, ever grateful, because this is the man who I was hounding with questions and just grilling him, and decided to jump on board with this amazing opportunity and a new family, building relationships, people from all over the world, and learning from them as well. It's not about relationships, it's about learning, because right now we've got massive organizations in Europe, in Africa, in the Middle East, and in Malaysia, and we're now bringing it over to the United States to really open the doors for people that are really looking. And with that, I want to encourage people to reach out and schedule a call. Let's have a call. Let's talk about some of the things that Dr. Tahir mentioned during the interview today, as well as some of the things that I've shared with myself. And look at where you are today and where do you want to be in 3 to 5 to 10 years, and see if this might be a good fit for you or for a family member who is potentially looking in that looking zone. It's all about getting information, and it is about being educated so you can make a decision from the information that you have received, because there are other projects that I've looked at and I've received the information. They didn't resonate with me, and that's okay. But I was educated knowing that my decision was a heartfelt decision for myself. So that is the QR code that you can scan and schedule a call that's convenient for you with what I have open on my schedule, and be more than happy to share information and get you directed into the right information so you can do your own deep dive, your own due diligence, because that's what I did in the beginning. My very first one, as I mentioned, major loss because I just jumped in, not knowing how to research, projects like this. I do now. And that's what I want to share with you with regards to that. And so, Dr. Tahir, as we're kind of wrapping up here on this amazing event and being able to meet you here in Clearwater, this is the first time, my gosh, since 2022,
Yes.
that we've met in the United States. I met you in Turkey. I met you in Qatar, Doha, Qatar, those 2 times personally over, on the other side of the pond, as we call it.
And Singapore.
Oh, yes, and Singapore. So,
Singapore.
oh my gosh, yes. So thank you. Oh my gosh, that just like slid over this head here. So Dr. Tahir and Dr. Lothar Rapier were 2 main catalysts who recommended me for my honorary doctorate. And I flew out September of 2024. And Dr. Tahir flew to Singapore to be there as I received my honorary doctorate. So I'm truly, truly grateful for him and Dr. Lothar for doing that recommendation. I was nervous. I was like, I don't know. But, I said, I've got nothing to lose, and it's if it was 10 years ago, I said, no, I'm not interested. No, I can't do that. I'm not good enough. I'm not, whatever the case may be. That's the, the little man on the shoulder saying, boom, 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 you're dumb, you're stupid, you're whatever the case may be. That one has been off my shoulder for a couple of years, which has been amazing. But with that, we're bringing this into the United States and getting people educated. People are already on board. We've got a great opportunity for individuals who might be open to, taking a look at this. And it doesn't harm you to take a look at it. It takes an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever the time may be. Took me 2 months, but that's me. Ex-software engineer are very analytical. I do deep dives, but not everybody has to do that. So what are some of the nuggets that you can share with our viewers today to, really step into their uncomfortable zone to reach out and get some information?
The reason if you would feel uncomfortable about anything in life is simply because you don't have knowledge for it. If I entered your room, I wouldn't know where the switches are. But if you entered your room, you could close your eyes and switch on every single switch, simply because we call it law of familiarity. You're too familiar. Even in the dark, even when your eyes can't see it, I couldn't find the switches, or it would take me a while to find those switches with my eyes open in broad daylight. Simple example. We all understand that. Similarly, when you charter into something that's new to you, there's the feeling of being uncomfortable. So always remember, when you feel that, and you should, because that's where growth lies. And I've got this saying that become comfortable being uncomfortable, because that's where growth will happen. Now, when growth happens, then know why you're feeling uncomfortable. What's your mission? Why you're in it? We are the one who wants it for the betterment of humanity. Disruption. So the masses could come in. They didn't have to do this. They could have just gone to a couple of billionaires, built a couple of more resorts, made some money, like a lot of other developers do that. Nothing wrong in that. That's not disruption. That's not serving humanity in that context. So when you are going to feel uncomfortable or say, I book an appointment with Dr. Jeffrey, given his credentials, you should, just on his credentials alone. There's a reason he got an honorary doctorate from Asia, and among Asian countries, Singapore, which has one of the highest standards because of something that he has gone through in life and he has fought and conquered. You think he wasn't scared? Talk about that. Yet he did it. Yet he conquered it. Right? Make a decision. That's all we would want you to do today. A decision to come and listen.
Right.
Because if you want to keep someone poor, lie to them, tell them education doesn't matter, who cares, go with your gut feeling and emotions always, and you will keep them poor. Because no success story is built around that. None of the stories, whether you're in US or around the world. So make a decision that I could allocate 30 minutes, an hour at least of my time to do justice and see if I could make my money work hard for me. Because the next question is, Why would you sacrifice an hour of your time? So that you could get on a path to creating wealth, creating passive income through technologies that are going to disrupt you. You don't want 2, 3 years down the line when we are on every major news saying, oh, I think I had someone from Asia. I think I know Dr. Jeffrey. I was listening in to his videos. I was invited and I did nothing. That is painful. That is. How do I know this? I know some of the most influential investors who were given an opportunity with companies like Uber and Netflix before they went public. And they said, nah, like Dr. Jeffrey's story with Bitcoins.
Right.
Nah, must be a
Right.
scam. And
Right.
here we are. The rest is history. So make that decision, for good or bad. Make that decision because you owe that to yourself and for the people you love and care.
No, great suggestions. I totally embrace that, and that's where I was back in 2022. And we talk about industry giants and stuff like that, and I do want to share it, which I haven't mentioned even yet, is that our entire platform, it's already accredited by Microsoft, Amazon Web Services. We won the Microsoft EdTech Award. We just signed a 2-year contract with Google and collaboration with our educational component. And then we had a Forbes magazine June 27th article written. So those are industry giants who are backing what we have, and we're still here just getting started, and still lots of groundbreaking opportunities. So before we close out, I'm going to play one more short commercial and then we'll sign off. Hang on.
Imagine your name on a beachfront villa. Not just in photos, but in 2 worlds, reality and the metaverse. Buy a fraction, receive an NFT, and access premium privileges. The One Real Tech turns property into legacy. Own more than a property. Own your success story. Connect with us at www.theonerealtech.com.
Okay, so we are connecting from reality into virtual reality here, into the metaverse, and we're inviting you to take a look at this and get some information. Dr. Tahir, I can't thank you enough for coming to the United States. I know you've got a whirlwind tour happening during this month, and providing so much great information as you always do, and value to my audience, and look forward to embracing this with other individuals. And thanks everybody for joining us today. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.